So by the way guys, so I'm going to watch, so I want to know more about the amazing Cambodia, so the amazing history of Cambodia. So let us watch this guys. I'm so excited for this. Hello everyone guys! Welcome back again to my YouTube channel. Domo konnichiwa, hachimemashite, watashi wa Yumo desu. So this time it's another reaction video guys. I'm so excited because of course, by the way, thank you so much for watching my previous reactions, of course, to Amazing Cambodia, and of course to Miss Grand Cambodia, Miss Grand Cambodia, yes, Miss Surida Po Tim Kim. And please guys, let us help her until tomorrow, yeah, because that's in the evening. It's the final competition, the final show of Miss Grand International. So please, because Miss Sutida is our, you know, the face of Cambodia, the model of Cambodia. So please help her, and please, I hope she will get the first crown for Cambodia. I'm so excited for her. She really deserves. So we saw her performances from swimsuit, the national costume, the best. Please vote her, and also in best in evening gown, because in swimsuit, there's already a winner. So Miss Grand Vietnam, she already got the best in swimsuit, but actually Miss Universe, Miss Sutida got first runner up. But okay, it's okay. So let us help her right now in national costume and best in evening gown and star phone. Okay, so she will enter into the top 10. So by the way guys, so I'm going to watch, so I want to know more about the amazing Cambodia, so the amazing history of Cambodia. So let us watch this guys. I'm so excited for this. So let's watch it guys. Welcome to the Cambodia Report channel.
Cambodia has a rich and fascinating history. In this video, we give you a brief overview of the history of Cambodia. The first humans in Cambodia were Stone Age hunters and gatherers. However, farming was introduced into Cambodia about 2300 BC. The first farmers in Cambodia used stone tools, but from about 1500 BC, the Cambodians used tools and weapons made from bronze.
So Cambodia is the, you know,
500 BC,
one of the oldest nation in the world.
The first civilization in the area arose about 150 AD
Oh,
in the Mekong
Mekong River.
This civilization was known to the
I know
Chinese,
Mekong
who
River.
called it Funan. While Funan was trading with the Chinese, Cambodian society grew more sophisticated. Settlements grew larger. So did kingdoms. By the beginning of the 7th century AD, all of Cambodia was highly civilized. At first, Cambodia was divided into rival states. However, at the beginning of the 9th century, a king named Jayavarman II founded the Khmer Empire in Cambodia. The Khmer Empire in Cambodia. Like all early civilizations, the Khmer Empire was an overwhelmingly agricultural society. Although there were many craftsmen, the great majority of the people were farmers. Their staple diet was rice.
Thank you, Cambodia.
Khmers were animists. They believed that spirits inhabited natural phenomena such as the earth and trees.
Because of the rice, they can help a lot, you know,
and Buddhism were
all the
nations. With traditional
export, right?
Built fine temples, the only stone buildings in Cambodia. They were richly decorated with fine stone carvings. The most famous temple in Cambodia is Angkor Wat, which was built in the early 12th century. Cambodia was prosperous and powerful.
And prosperous.
AD, King Jayavarman V was killed. Civil war followed until Suryavarman I founded another dynasty. By 1011 he was in control of Cambodia, however his dynasty only lasted until 1080 when it was replaced by another. In 1177 a people called the Chams from Champa on the coast of Vietnam invaded Cambodia. However, King Jayavarman VII managed to drive them out by 1183.
Okay, now I fully understand.
Between 1203 and 1220 he was able to force the Chams to submit to him. Nevertheless, by the mid-13th century the Khmer kingdom was in decline. In 1431 the Thais captured the Cambodian capital, Angkor. Afterwards it was abandoned and new capital was founded at Phnom Penh. By the mid-16th century, Angkor was overgrown by the jungle and it was accidentally rediscovered by a Cambodian king. Cambodia 1500 to 1800. During the 16th century Cambodian power continued to decline. At the end of the century, Cambodia fell under Thai control. In 1594 the Thais captured the capital and after that they dominated the
fell under Thai control. In 1594 the Thais captured the capital and after that they dominated the region. From the middle of the 17th century, the power of Vietnam grew. In the early 17th century the Cambodians controlled parts of what is now South Vietnam. They held a port called Pre Nocor, later it was renamed Saigon. In the late 17th century, Pre Nocor fell under Vietnamese rule. During the 18th century, Cambodia found itself squeezed between two powerful neighbors, Thailand and Vietnam. The Thais invaded Cambodia several times in the 18th century and in 1772 they destroyed Phnom Penh. In the last years of the 18th century the Vietnamese also invaded Cambodia. The Cambodian king was forced to look to the Thais for protection. In return Thailand took northwest Cambodia. Cambodia in the 19th century. In the early 19th century, King Chan (1806 to 1834) turned to the Vietnamese for protection from the Thais. The Thais were annoyed by this policy, and when a rebellion occurred in South Vietnam in 1833, they took advantage by invading Cambodia. However, the Vietnamese king crushed the rebellion and the Thai army retreated. As a result, the Vietnamese emperor strengthened his control over Cambodia. When Cambodian King Chan died in 1834 one of his daughters was installed as queen and Vietnamese people settled in Cambodia. The Vietnamese regarded the Cambodians as barbarians and tried to civilize them by teaching them Vietnamese customs. Resentment at Vietnamese influence led to a rebellion in 1840 to 1841. The Thais invaded again to reassert their control of Cambodia. However, in the 1850s French missionaries arrived in Cambodia. The Cambodian king turned to the French to protect him from both the Thais and the Vietnamese. So, in 1863 Cambodia became a French protectorate. Cambodia in the 20th century. Under French rule, some economic development took place in Cambodia. Roads and railways were built and in the 1920s a rubber industry grew up. However, the Cambodians were forced to pay heavy taxes and from the 1930s Cambodian nationalism grew. Then in 1941 Cambodia was occupied by the Japanese. However, at first they allowed French officials to remain in their posts, but in March 1945 as the Japanese were losing the war, they desperately tried to curry favor with the Cambodians. They arrested French officials and declared Cambodia independent.
Sorry to hear that, sorry.
However, when the Japanese surrendered the French took over again. They arrived in October 1945. This time the French did allow the Cambodians to have political parties and a constitution. By a treaty of 1949, Cambodia was made semi-independent. Then in 1952 King Sihanouk dismissed the government and took personal control of the country. Events then moved swiftly and on the 9th of November 1953 the French finally allowed Cambodia to become fully independent.
Wow.
In 1955, Sihanouk abdicated in favor of his father and elections were held. Sihanouk formed his own political movement. From 1955 to 1970 he dominated politics in Cambodia so much so that it is sometimes called the Sihanouk era. In 1960, when his father died, he named himself Chief of State. Sihanouk called his movement Buddhist Socialism. However, it was not really socialist at all. Sihanouk's reign began to crumble in 1968 when the communists began a civil war. In 1970, Sihanouk left the country. While he was away the National Assembly voted to remove him as Chief of State. Cambodia was renamed the Khmer Republic.
Khmer
However,
Republic.
the communists slowly made headway. The Americans bombed Cambodia to try and stop the communists. Nevertheless, they captured Phnom Penh on the 17th of April 1975. The Khmer Rouge in Cambodia. In 1975, a horrific and tragic era of Cambodian history began in the reign of the Khmer Rouge. They were led by Pol Pot or Saloth Sa, also known as Brother Number 1. How many people were killed by Pol Pot and the Khmer Rouge is not known for certain, but it was probably at least 1.5 million, and it may have been as many as 3 million. Pol Pot declared that history would begin again in Cambodia. The first year of revolution was
very
now the
sad
first
and
year of
tragic.
history. In 1975, Cambodia was a mainly agricultural country.
Wow,
Pol Pot decided it should be completely agricultural. This meant all the people from the towns and cities were forced to move to the countryside. Pol Pot also decided that agricultural output should double in 4 years, a totally unrealistic target. Private property was banned and collective farms were formed. They were supposed to grow 3 tons of rice per hectare, again a completely unrealistic target. People were made to work very long
Cambodian
hours
people
to try
are very
and grow the
hardworking,
extra
and
rice.
thank you so much
They were given
for
insufficient
the
food,
efforts,
and
for
many
the
fell
hard,
ill and died from
for
a
your hard
combination
work.
of exhaustion and malnutrition. That was not all. Religion was banned in Cambodia. People caught practicing Buddhism were executed. Family relationships were banned on the grounds that parents exploited their children. Furthermore, the smallest infringement of the rules resulted in execution. Although they were half-starved, people caught foraging for food were executed. People were also executed for being lazy. Needless to say, anyone who complained was executed. Furthermore, the Khmer Rouge murdered intellectuals. This nightmarish situation was only ended by a war with Vietnam.
Yes.
The Vietnamese invaded Cambodia in December 1978 and quickly prevailed. Unfortunately, Pol Pot escaped and he did not die until 1998.
It was like a lot of
Pol
times
Pot's
that
soldiers
Vietnam
fled to Thailand,
invaded
and they were
Cambodia.
welcomed by the Thais who feared a Vietnamese invasion. The Khmer Rouge continued a guerrilla war against the Vietnamese. However, the Vietnamese forces withdrew from Cambodia in 1989. Afterwards, negotiations began among several different parties, and the result was the Paris Peace Accords of 1991. Communism was abandoned in Cambodia and a provisional government ruled until 1993, when elections were held and a constitution was framed. Sihanouk was made a constitutional monarch. The Khmer Rouge refused to take part in the elections, and they continued their guerrilla war. Fortunately, in 1996 Pol Pot's second-in-command Leng Sari defected. Many Khmer Rouge troops followed him. Pol Pot himself died in 1998 and peace returned to Cambodia. In 1999 Cambodia joined ASEAN. Cambodia in the 21st century. In 2004 King Norodom Sihanouk abdicated. His son became King Norodom Sihamoni in his place. Today, Cambodia is still a poor country, but there is every reason to be optimistic about its future.
Yes.
In the early years of the 21st century, the Cambodian economy grew rapidly.
Wow.
Today, the economy of Cambodia is growing strongly.
Yes.
The textiles industry in Cambodia is booming, so is tourism. Cambodia is growing more and more prosperous. In 2005, oil was discovered in the Sea of Cambodia.
Wow!
And it holds great
Congratulations,
promise for the future.
Cambodia, and
Today, the population of Cambodia is 16
God
million.
will bless
So,
more
there
Cambodia.
you have it, a brief overview of some of the amazing and tragic history of Cambodia.
Yes.
Thanks for watching.
Wow. I think it's just a short. So I want to know more about Cambodia, and I'm so happy for the ended, for the last part, that I am so proud for Cambodia that right now is like rapidly growing the economy. So congrats for that, Cambodia, and I'm so excited, especially in the future. I know Cambodia will be on the top soon. So because Cambodian people are very hardworking persons, I know that because I have a lot of friends. By the way, hello my friend Monica Sem and Sao, hello. So they are from Cambodia, so they are my friends. Thank you so much for always be there for me and I miss you. I hope to visit again Cambodia, and I want to see my friends in Cambodia soon. So God bless everyone, and I really love this video and I really appreciate it. So yes, so I'm going to put in the description below. Please support them also. Goodbye guys.